Welcome to Below the Line, where we talk about working in Hollywood from the crew perspective. My name is Skid. I'm a former assistant director and your host.
Quiet on the set.
Welcome back for episode 4 of Below the Line's 7th annual Oscar series, where subject matter experts discuss the nominees in their category of expertise. We are also, for the first time, publishing the video of our conversation on YouTube. If you're a podcast listener, check out the video. If you're watching the video, let me know what you think. Today's category is Achievement in Makeup and Hairstyling. Let me introduce my guests. Angela Nogaro, you've been a film industry makeup artist for more than 30 years, and your credits include Griselda, Alias, and Why Women Kill. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me back. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Glad to have you. Also welcoming back Yvonne De Patis-Kupka. You've been an industry hairstylist for more than 30 years, and your credits include The Grinch, Planet of the Apes, and Being the Ricardos. Nice to see you again.
Happy to be here. Happy to see you again.
Thank you. And joining our Oscar season for the first time, Lynda Armstrong. You've been a hair and makeup designer for more than 30 years, and your credits include 101 Dalmatians, Michael Collins, and All the Light We Cannot See. I'm glad you could join us this week.
Thank you. Nice to meet you all.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
All right, let's get to the movies. This year's nominees for makeup and hairstyling are Frankenstein, Kakuho, which I don't know if I'm pronouncing correctly, apologies in advance, Sinners, The Smashing Machine, and The Ugly Stepsister. We're going to discuss them in that order, and spoilers are possible, so consider this a warning. When I introduce each film, I'll recognize the nominated team by name. Please also accept my apologies in advance for any mispronunciations. My guests, of course, are welcome to correct me, particularly if you know those folks and we want to get it right. First up, Frankenstein. And the nominated team is Mike Hill, Jordan Samuel, and Cleona Fury. Lynda, why don't you get us started? What do you think of Frankenstein?
I thought it was beautiful. I thought the design of the monster, basically, it was really beautifully, the concept of it was beautiful. It was very different to what we all think Frankenstein should look like, but it was very much like it gave this feeling of being very sort of sympathetic to him. It was sort of quite beautiful in a way. It was sort of they'd layered like skin on top of a human form to make it look sort of pathetic, but in a way very graceful. You could see why somebody would fall in love with him in a way and want to protect him. And I thought that was very clever. I thought that it was very modern as well. The way that the pieces were put on, it was very, it was very drawn on. It was sort of like a painting, really, on his body, which I thought was beautiful. And I think as well that the hair on her was, when it was down, was beautiful. It was an incredibly long piece of hair to make it that length. It's quite an achievement to get hair that long on someone. And I think it was very much a piece where I think that the costume and the director worked very well with the designers, because I think he's a director that likes color and he likes textures, and I think that the designers went with that in it, and I thought that was really beautiful, actually. Beautiful colors, beautiful, it worked very, very nicely all together. But it's mainly, I feel that it was mainly focused definitely on the monster more than anything, and I think that's, so it's very much a prosthetic film, really, which is, it's very beautiful. I don't know what anybody else thinks, but I liked it.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Lynda. I think it's beautiful. I think Guillermo, and we're not talking about directors, but I think it's a love story that's unbelievably beautiful. It's a love story to the monster, and it's a love story about love. So I was enamored with that. I thought visually, it was so striking to me, the colors, the magnitude of what they were creating. Um, she was amazing. The simplicity of her makeup bordered on period and modern. So I was infatuated with that, and it didn't distress me. Sometimes when they do that, it's like, oh, that's wrong. I can't take it. But this was beautiful. And yes, the wig was unbelievable to me when she was sitting there with her bridal gown with that hair down to the floor. I was like, holy cow, what European gave up all that hair? You know, so I think that the monster, who wouldn't fall in love with Jacob Elordi anyway on the real, because he's like 6'5" and he's gorgeous, and he was a gorgeous monster, which is different than anything that we have been presented so far in our movie lives watching on film. The work was amazing. Sometimes he looked like a statue, a really pretty statue. And then other times you could see the horror of what had been presented to his body, how they put him together. So I liked the movie. I was moved by the movie, and sometimes I'm not. So, it was actually a pleasure to watch all the way through and to see this amazing work and collaboration that went on, because you can tell when the teams really work smoothly together and collaborate to make something visually as beautiful as that. I mean, even the feathers in her hair that came around her face were like, this beautiful, premeditated, but absolutely fabulous. So I thought it was pretty great.
I'm going to concur. Cinematically, I thought it was stunning. I also felt like they took a page out of one of my favorite makeup playbooks, which was Edward Scissorhand.
Yeah.
And I think that they took an idea of making somebody grotesque, sympathetic, and beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So you feel for him. This is a boy. I mean, you look at his eyes. He is a sympathetic character through and through. I thought they did an amazing job on the makeups. I thought the whole thing visually was beautiful. Yeah, I'm two thumbs up on the movie.
Yeah.
I think it was
Yeah.
It was interesting. I mean, I suppose that what was nice about it is that it, the sets and the colors from the lighting and everything were sort of slightly iridescent. So there was, it's sort of like, as you mentioned, the sort of the feathers and then her clothes as well with her this very pale natural makeup is very much like, it felt like the outshell of a beetle, that iridescent sort of. I thought that was beautiful as well. I was, and the monster makeup, it changed colors a little bit. Sometimes the inner bit would change, become more blue for certain reasons. You could say. So I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, it was
Pretty
okay.
good.
Yeah, it was really nice. Really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we go over these nominations, we've had some films in the past that we think they earn their nominations largely on the strength of the prosthetics. Like something about the prosthetic work is what catapults the movie into consideration. But from what I'm hearing from this one, you think not just the prosthetic work around the monster, but the other work on characters and such and period and all. This sounds like there's just a lot of skill across the board on this one.
The movie is beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's nice to see.
Yeah.
I personally feel like I don't see enough beautiful.
The magnitude of the sets was remarkable, and the
Mm.
design was beyond the production design. I mean, all around, it's one of those movies that I was totally infatuated and inspired by. So
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of, yeah, every aspect. The lighting was incredible.
yeah,
And so nothing really stood out at you in a way. It looked like it belonged. Everything belonged everywhere. The costume belonged. The sets belonged. Yeah, it was very. I think it was very clever as well, and I think, I mean, they did have quite a good budget, so that was quite nice. Well,
helps. It helps.
compared to some of the other maybe nominees, but you still can't fault it. It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, this is interesting, Yvonne. You brought up Guillermo del Toro, and interestingly enough, he was nominated by the Directors Guild for Best Director, but he's not on the Best Director list for the Oscars. Although we are going to be talking about, he's Frankenstein is not. I don't have the list in front of me, but a bunch of the technicals, so it will be a big part of the conversation of this series, but not when we're talking about directors. Interestingly enough,
well, it has 16 nominations, and to me, again, here's my political outrage. He should be nominated as a director for this film. Just keeping it all together, doing this whole movie, creating it, writing it.
Again, 16 nominations, but you're not included.
That's right.
I don't
16
know.
nominations. We love your movie, but you're out. Barbara.
I believe he was very like the ship and everything. Nothing. He didn't use a lot of CGI at all. It was all, that I think is incredible. I think nowadays I think, oh yes, lovely.
There was one part with the wolves that there were a few wolves, I think, that were CGI, and that was the only part. So the rest was quite a phenomenal feat. So, yeah.
Well, one point of order, so we're not misinforming our listeners. I just had to look it up to be sure. 9 nominations for Frankenstein. That 16 nominations notoriety belongs to another film we're going to talk about, but we'll save that for there.
Oh.
But 9 nominations, and yes, Best Director is not one of them. All right, but I think a film we can all recommend, and again, we'll be discussing it more over the course of the series. Well, let's move on to our second film, Kokoho, again, a Japanese film that I think I'll just pronounce the name differently every time so that one time is correct. And the nominated team is Kyoko Toyokawa, Naomi Hibino, and Tadashi Nishimatsu. Now, what's interesting about this film is it had a very limited release. It's actually going to be rolling out later in the month for a wide U.S. release, but 3 of us have not had a chance to see it. However, Angela, you did get to see this film, so why don't you kick us off? Tell us what you thought.
I did. I watched it last night.
Excellent.
Okay, so the movie itself, I loved. It's a beautiful story. It's a great movie. Some of it gets lost in translation, of course, subtitles, and to follow the plot line, you have to sort of dig a minute. Going to the makeup, I'm going to try and be as politically correct and as polite as possible. The makeup is traditionally kabuki.
Yeah.
There aren't many examples of extreme kabuki makeups. So the makeups are predominantly a lot of very simple geisha sort of white face. Given that it is, and I'm going to say this, and I'm not blowing my own horn here, so please put this in perspective. I won an Emmy for doing a geisha makeup on Alias. Okay, so I was trained by a Japanese woman to do this makeup. Funny that I'm getting this show here right now. Anyway, first of all, it is a cultural makeup that they, in their culture, know how to do. It's easily learned, taught, whatever. Same as in our culture, doing a Kardashian beat would be similar, right? It's not a makeup that's pristine, clean, really defined. there's a messiness to it just by the nature of it. So it's not like you get to see any sort of technique that brings it to this pristine sort of place. So if you're going to compare painting somebody white, which there's a comparison where we could have had somebody painted green that didn't end up being nominated. And in my opinion, though I know that that was nominated last year for the same situation, I think that the green showed a better technique at, I think that the green showed a better technique.
And we're speaking of Wicked, is that right?
I don't
Angela?
understand. Yeah, Wicked.
Oh, Wicked.
I don't understand. I maybe walked away from the movie going, it's a lovely movie. I don't necessarily understand the nomination. That was my opinion. I loved the movie. I thought it was a great movie. I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. But in stepping back and saying, okay, makeup, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Just be me. I'm not saying that the job was done poorly. It wasn't done poorly. Just for what it is, I didn't see that as being one of the movies to move forward in this arena.
Thank you for that, because you saw the whole movie. I only saw the trailer, and my response to the trailer was, well, what Oscar nomination? I mean, I already saw Samurai. I saw, I've seen movies where the expertise was, and it was beautiful what I could see in the trailer. But without seeing the whole movie, I did get the story, just from the trailer. But as far as Oscar worthy nominations, this happens sometimes and I've said this before, sometimes the publicity and the publicist machine is so good that things get shoved and pushed right through. And I'm like, it's like people that are critiques of movies and stuff, like we're doing right now, but people that are critics, I never completely listen to all of their stuff. I want to see the movie for myself because it's all personal, right? And so this was personal for me without even seeing the whole movie. You just established what I felt from seeing the trailer.
Right.
Why this is in with the Oscar nominees for like Frankenstein?
I felt the same actually. I only saw the trailer as well, and I felt from what I saw the same. There was nothing that, I mean, I didn't see the whole movie, so I was waiting for something else. I thought maybe there was something else in the movie that I was missing in our departments, but obviously there wasn't. And I feel okay. It's beautiful, but it's not unusual. I don't feel like it's sort of, kabuki makeup is a character driven role. Do you know what I mean? It's obviously that is the person and they wear kabuki makeup, and it's not actually bringing that character to life. It's just a fact, if that makes sense to you.
If we had seen it.
Well, I have one question based on the trailer as well. And I don't want to interrupt you, Angela. You say your thought and I'll throw out a thought afterwards.
I went into it thinking, okay, so we opened with this traditional white-faced geisha, and I was hoping to see, if anything, that they really were more of the big kabuki makeups. Some sort of example.
The monkey face and all
there's like two small little ones that just are on screen, off screen very quickly. My two friends to the right of me on my screen are going to have a stroke when they see the wigs. The wigs are horrific.
Oh.
Oh,
horrific.
I'm glad I didn't see that.
Okay.
But again, so I went through the movie waiting to see if there was a bit more. And even at the end, as he's aged, because the movie takes place over many, many years, there's hardly any aging done in the movie. So like I said, I really enjoyed the movie and I thought it's a lovely story. It just didn't deliver in the world of makeup what I was hoping to see, what I would have wanted to see being nominated.
Yeah.
Okay, well, my question, and it's not to throw a lifeline for the film, because again, I also only have seen the trailer, but watched it specifically for hair makeup. And the one thing that I got from the trailer, and Angela, since you've seen the movie, you can tell me if this plays out or not. I felt like because the trailer captures a lot of dramatic moments, you have a lot of non, like they're not in the kabuki moment where the makeup seems to be like smeared or such in a way that I think my thought in watching that was like, oh, that might be very challenging to sort of maintain continuity and to have kabuki not on stage, if you will, and to keep the makeup seeming real. But you're saying it didn't really deliver on that as far as that promise of the story doesn't, from a makeup perspective,
I mean,
it
look,
didn't add anything extra.
sure. I mean, if we're giving out academies for smeared makeup, maybe they did maintain the continuity with all of that.
Okay.
In sense of continuity and all of that stuff. There's no glitches. It's all maintained, but it's not like watching a war movie where they're matching. What was the movie that was nominated a couple of years ago? That it was the dirt and the blood and the everything that went on that they carried the whole way through that actually made a presence of you acknowledge
Sure.
that, you
Sure.
know.
Okay.
But it's a lovely movie, and I would highly recommend seeing it because it really is a great story.
Okay.
We'll keep it on our list for when it's
Okay.
in wider
Yeah.
release, or
Yeah.
maybe and we'll
Comes
just
out at the end of the month.
and then Amon, you check back in when you actually have seen the wigs, because I would be very amused
Oh,
to hear what you have to say about it.
Angela knows how I am. I'm meticulous. If
She's gonna cringe.
that'll destroy something for me, a bad
Yeah,
wig.
yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to move on to the third film on our list, and that's Sinners. The nominees are Ken Diaz, Mike Fontaine, and Shanika Terry. Yvonne, this is the movie you're thinking of with the 16 nominations. What did you think of the hair and makeup?
Okay. First of all, it's such a brilliant story. These Irish vampires and all this stuff going on. There were so many things in it. I was mesmerized from the opening. And the work is impeccable throughout. There's the period stuff is like amazing. And one of the things I'm going to really have to hone in on that totally, it just took me to another place. First of all, the music was so mesmerizing during the dance scene when everybody and all the ancestors were showing up and you had the native from Africa and it was like a remarkable accomplishment to do all of that. I think that Makeup and Hair did quite a remarkable job. And like it was a very sexy film to me. There was something that was so sensual and sexy about the movie. I think Ken and his team did quite a remarkable job. Costumes as a whole, the whole picture really deserves recognition. It's completely different than Frankenstein, but it's also as beautiful, as complete, the lighting, the direction, it's pretty remarkable and not CGI. And also taking them into the future too. The other two vampires, Haley and Michael, into, it was the 70s? Yeah, when they came back and saw him. I just thought they did a remarkable job. It is well-deserved nomination, in my opinion. I could not find a lot of faults with makeup and hair. If I were even to go in there and go, well, it just had me mesmerized. If I can get lost in a movie on all levels, it pleases me because, when I go to movies, sometimes there'll be a bad wig and I'll be like, oh my God, the whole movie, it annoys me, or who decided to do this makeup, whatever. But in this one, I was kind of mesmerized at the whole concept and the pacing and the frenzy of that dance scene and all the ancestors and everybody showing up and dancing there was quite a remarkable accomplishment. So I think it's a well-deserved nomination. And having worked with Kenny on Pirates and other things, you know, he's a remarkable artist who really can put teams together that make the thing happen. So I was jazzed by it.
Yeah, it's sort of when you watched it, it sort of flowed, if that makes sense to you. Nothing sort of, everything looked like it was in its place. Nothing jumped out at you. So you just watched it and you went like, you could immerse yourself in the film. And it is very different to something like Frankenstein, because obviously Frankenstein is obviously, you know, prosthetics and makeup and stuff like this. Was lovely in that it nothing jumped out at you. You just went with it, and you didn't it's not that you didn't notice the makeup and hair, but you just felt it was right. You felt you were in the period, you felt you were in the place. Mm-hmm. And that is an achievement, and I think that is often missed. That things that look natural, that's very hard work to do. And I think you know, maybe all of our department is a little bit guilty of not recognizing that, actually, because that's actually very hard to do.
It is. And the magnitude of the blood work and the killing and stuff, there were prosthetics and things involved with that too, that was going on. But like you say, it just kind of, it all fit together. And sometimes really beautiful work like that will go unrecognized by all of us, you know? Angela?
Okay, so I was not as enamored with the movie as Yvonne was. Having said that, I do believe that the makeups facilitated 100% the storytelling.
Yeah.
Which is the job of what we do, and and it's supposed to be seamless, and it was seamless. I love Kenny. I know Yvonne loves Kenny. We would all love to see Kenny walk away with an Academy Award. Historically, the Academy doesn't normally do gore. So all of that blood could work against them. Mm-hmm. Historically, they shy away from that. Who knows? What they did present, though, was beautiful. Mm-hmm. The work was lovely. The work was, there's no flaws in the work. The work was impeccable. Everything was carried out the way it should have been. Yeah. It was really masterfully done.
Yeah, I think as far as the movie was, I mean, I did like the movie a lot. I just felt it. I felt when I first started to go and watch, when I first started going into the movie and at the beginning and everything, I thought, oh, this is going to be amazing. And then I think the very end of it let it down. It went a bit crazy for me. It just went a bit Tarantino-y bit. It just went like literally a bit mad. And I was like, oh, okay. I loved that whole feeling of that sort of black magic-y sort of thing at the beginning. And then at the end, it just went a bit wild for me. But obviously our department did what they were meant to do. So, I like the movie, but it wouldn't have been my favorite out of them.
Well, we'll see if any of our other nominees displace Frankenstein, who seems to be running ahead of the favorite for all of you. No spoilers, but let's move on to the fourth film on our list, The Smashing Machine. And the nominees are Kazuhiro, Glenn Griffin, and Bjorn Rabin, or maybe Rabin. Does anybody know Bjorn and help me pronounce this one? No.
I know Kazu quite well. I met Kazu when we were doing The Grinch. Can I talk about it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm wait.
I can feel
the look on your face. You and I are on the same page.
First of all, Kazu is brilliant. Okay. I mean, it goes without saying, this guy is an artist that's somewhere beyond almost the work that he's does. I started watching the movie and I saw The Rock all the way, and then I realized I lost The Rock, and then I came back. There was a lot of distractions for me, and one of the things that took away from the movie was the the craziness that they had going on as a couple, the craziness of martial arts, the craziness and violence of everything. And then there's this incredible makeup, because that's really the makeup of the movie is The Rock as this guy, Mark.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay. But if you put that and look at Frankenstein, it's kind of like looking at Frankenstein and then looking at the Smashing Machine is like, it throws me off on my thinking. Yes, the makeup is brilliant and Kazu's brilliant. I can never, ever take that away. But I also wonder, categorically down the line, how do we compare? I want to be really nice about it. How do you compare a masterpiece with, something that's not totally a masterpiece, in my opinion? The makeup's a masterpiece. He did an amazing job, but the story was like, I've seen this drug addicted, weird, violent story before. So it kind of threw me as far as being in the whole realm of makeup and hair.
It was sort of shot, sort of slightly documentary like, wasn't it? It was very, it wasn't for me either, to be honest.
I found the film unwatchable.
Yes,
Yeah.
and the makeup was brilliant. What he did with his forehead and his nose, but
no, I don't agree. I'm going to say that I feel like this is Kazu's what I like to call his scent of a woman award. Like. It's being thrown at him because he's Kazu and because he's the best of what we have. Truly. Yeah. I mean, and he is. But you could the color changes in the makeup.
Yeah.
You could see in some of the fight scenes that because he's in prosthetics, that his body heats up and his face didn't heat up and the colors are completely off.
Yeah.
I never did the research to find out if the DP is somebody who's shot prosthetics before, because I will say that if you do a movie like that and you don't have a really, really, really qualified DP who knows how to light stuff like this, you're going to see every flaw. And I felt like I saw every flaw. I also felt like, and this could just be me, and what do I know? But that's my don't hate me if I ever meet you in real life disclaimer. But I felt like Dwayne's face changed per shot.
Yeah, it did.
And I don't think there were shots that he looked almost Asian. There were shots that he didn't. There was whether there was placement that was a little too hot, I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't necessarily say that I am capable of doing this. I'm not. But I'm saying what I saw and what I witnessed didn't line up all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know they were trying to make him look like the real person, but I felt like, actually, did you really need to do that? I know that sounds a bit strange. Like I thought, I don't know if it really felt like the film didn't necessarily warrant to have him looking exactly the same.
Well, and he still looked like The Rock.
Correct.
Yeah. And
so why not be The Rock and play?
Yeah, and I think because he had the prosthetics on and stuff, when he did have a few fights and he had a few when he was not meant to be, when he was drugged up and stuff, you didn't see the change enough because of the prosthetics as well. You couldn't see the difference in his emotion and what was going on inside. It
almost took away. It almost was against you, right? As opposed to for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I feel I would have thought it would have been better without the prosthetics, to be honest. And I that's just my opinion on it. But I found
I just do hair.
Yeah.
I just do hair. That's all I'm saying.
I found it a hard movie to watch. I was like, I was sort of like, come on, like, let's get through this a bit more. It's a shame.
I saw an interview with him talking about, I just felt the story needed to be told. And I'm like, did it though? Did it really need to be told, the story about this drug addicted and with his crazy girlfriend who just wanted him to love her? And, I love Emily Blunt. She's a wonderful actress, but really,
she looks beautiful.
Yeah.
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 And I know this isn't a makeup thing, but I also heard that the two brothers, one of the brother who directed that has a brother who directed something else, and they've lost their relationship over this movie. And it's like, really?
The other brother directed Marty Supreme.
There you go. Right, that's what it is. Right.
A lot of credit across the board,
Oh,
obviously.
boy.
I love that film.
I like Marty.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Marty yet, but they don't speak anymore, which is tragic.
That's so sad.
That is one.
This movie, which isn't even worth the watch.
Well, and they used to direct together. They've done Uncut Gems is the one everyone's talking about. Though they've both gone in different directions from Uncut Gems.
The Safdie brothers.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's what it is. Right?
Wow.
I forgot about Uncut Gems.
God, that's so different. Wow.
So different. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I think they're happy for the prosthetics now, since I think that is their only nomination for. So they always recognize that at least they get to go to the Oscars for this, if not for anything else. So
not the Marty Supreme director.
No, and I mean, it
was a much better movie.
I know we're going off sort of like thing, but that film was beautiful, and that's a film that I think that the makeup and hair was fantastic. Yes. And nothing jumped out at you, and I don't understand why that's not. But like nothing. I know there's no really prosthetics in it, but that's, every film doesn't have to have prosthetics to make it really beautiful.
The Academy also snubbed the actress who I thought stole a lot of the movie. That young woman that was his girlfriend.
Yeah,
I thought this girl is unique, exciting, and whatever. And there's, so you never.
Yeah,
we're all human after all, including the Academy. So,
yeah, it was beautiful.
Well, we've got one more film on our nomination list. Let's turn our attention to The Ugly Stepsister, and the nominees are Thomas Foldberg and Anne Catherine Sauerberg.
Well, I watched this film, and it's a very low budget film. It's not a lot of money in it. I loved it, actually. I loved that they were daring enough, that they sort of pushed boundaries quite a lot in it. Some of the technique mightn't have been fabulous sometimes, but it was I felt like the characters were very driven by the makeup and hair as well. I thought it was incredible, and I watched it not with no subtitles, and I just couldn't stop watching it. I was just waiting for some other bit to happen, and I thought they did an amazing job. I thought the prosthetics were, obviously they didn't have a huge budget, but I thought they used them when they needed to use them. And I thought they did it very well. I mean, there was a few little bits that I thought, oh, okay, maybe that could have looked a little bit better. I thought when they did the bit which they'd done in Frankenstein actually as well, when she had alopecia and she was losing her hair. I think they did that very well. I think the idea of, some of it I had to turn away because it made me feel quite, it's a horror fantasy sort of movie, and it made me go, oh. And I think that idea of somebody, not being happy and feeling ugly and trying to do anything really to make them, I think it came across really well. I thought it was really unique, and I thought it had a lot of, I thought it was, I actually really enjoyed it. And I thought they did do a good job with what I feel they had.
Mhm.
I liked it.
I enjoyed it, but I was waiting for something bigger to happen for some reason. It seemed like, and I do give the Danes a lot of credit for having no money and making this movie, probably on a shoestring budget compared to some of our blockbusters or Marvel.
It wasn't even, I think it was 350K. It wasn't even, it wasn't
So
even
that's pretty
That's
pretty
impressive.
remarkable to
Yeah.
what they accomplished. And I agree that some of the best parts, it all did come across that, people will do anything for beauty, which is part of the message. The stepsister was beautiful just as she was, but she didn't think she was good enough to have the prince, so she did all that stuff.
Yeah.
But the end of it was when the most stuff was happening, when she fell and smashed her face and broke her nose and cut her, cut her toes. Sorry, people. Did all of these things. That it was quite remarkable for the budget that they had, what they pulled off. And having worked on low budget things, I know it, what they had to do to make that stuff happen. And they worked in elements and all kinds of things. But it's really hard for me to take a small movie with a lot of heart and, look at some of the other productions and go, yeah, it's great. And I think it's good that they got recognition so they can do another movie, really.
Yeah.
And show their skills maybe somewhere else on their next one. But yeah, it was okay. It kind of left me wanting a little more. And I'm not a horror genre person, but it seemed like I was waiting for something big to happen that never really happened until the very end, which there was some things that went on. So
I haven't seen it, you know that. I plan on watching it. I would, because I'm curious. Um, I mean, we don't normally take into account budgets of movies and all of this stuff for the Academy Awards. I mean, when we talk about like achievements in makeup, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the past 5 years that we've been doing this, how long have we been doing this skit? I feel like we every year come into this going, I don't understand the movie. Long time, right?
This is the seventh. This is the seventh year we've been doing this.
Is it the seventh? Wow. I don't necessarily understand the movies that we're being handed. I find myself every year scratching my head just a little bit more, going, I don't get it.
Yeah.
And again, not that they're not great movies. Maybe it's just my idea coming up when I came up, with my idea of what the Academy Awards were, what that actually meant, and I think in my brain, that's something grand. That's something that really, it's the Edward Scissorhands. You know what I mean? It's every element together that creates this character, this story. It doesn't have to be a ton of prosthetics, but it's not just a broken nose thrown in somewhere, or you know what I mean? I don't know. That's just like I said, it's just me. But my expectation, I feel, is sometimes just much higher than what I feel like we're being given to judge.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because it's slightly different here with the BAFTAs. We have like prosthetics and makeup and hair are separate.
yes,
So it's
We should have been doing a long time ago also.
we should have been doing that here.
Yeah, and it does make a difference, because I think
removes the noise. It removes the noise.
Yeah,
The
because
movies that are like compete against the movies that are like, and it gives the other movies that are not, prosthetic heavy a chance to see if they actually were able to achieve something.
Yeah.
We just have everything thrown together in, one little category, and there it is.
yeah, and it makes the sort of like if it's a period thing or it's which doesn't have prosthetics, and you go, okay, that's amazing. It's just you feel like you're in that period. You see it all, and you see the wig work that you don't see any lace. You see what beautiful shapes, and you see the makeup that's flawless, and it's sort of there's makeup and hair people that are fantastic at that, and then there's prosthetic people that are prosthetic people, and yeah, it's a bit
We've been bitching about that for a long time, Angela and
I know, it's weird. I just thought of something. So, and we discussed this last year. The Academy is allowed to, if they don't like something, they're allowed to take people off the ticket.
Yeah.
So, say in the case of Coco, how do we say this name?
Coco.
What?
Kokuho.
Okay, Kokuho. You know, they may take off the hairdresser. I don't know. I don't know who stayed on the ticket, who didn't stay on the ticket. But they may take off the hairdresser because of the bad wigs. But that doesn't mean that when the movie wins, it's still, you know what I mean?
yeah, but also that means that that's like, say, we could say Marty Supreme, right? So if they're taking the hairdresser off, say they take it off that, and then it's left with the make. It's taking the place of another movie that maybe should
check all the boxes. Correct.
There is one place that separates makeup and hair here, and it's the Guild Awards. That's why we won for being the Ricardos, and makeup did not.
Yeah.
Because we had separate categories. Because if they had judged, we got kicked off of the Oscars to the short list because of makeup on that movie in particular. The wig work, and that's not just touting my own horn, I'm sorry, but it's what we're talking about, that if there was a separation where each category could get recognized for their
judged
work.
on its own. Judged on its
Yeah,
own.
just on its own, instead of like, well, we have to do the whole thing. It's like, it really does a disservice to, that's why the BAFTA is a different award thing, and ours is still, we've been fighting for years. I'm at least 18 years I've been fighting to try and get them to give hair their own category, and they won't do it.
You cannot watch on any YouTube or anyway, you cannot watch any trailer about Frankenstein without seeing Richard Redlifson doing the makeup, applying the makeup.
Yeah.
He is nowhere on the Hair and Makeup Award ticket. And because of what they need to include on the Academy ticket, he's not on the Academy ticket. Yeah. And there is nowhere that you will watch that makeup being applied that you do not see him physically there applying. So, it's the same gripe skid every year. We have the same.
Regular listeners know where I stand as well. When we get 2 categories, separated categories, or 3, we will do more episodes as well. We will be happy to bring up all those lists and do more episodes.
Yay.
That's probably a good segue for us. Earlier, we gave a shout out to Marty Supreme. We mentioned you guys had some nice things to say about it. Are there any other films that were overlooked by the Academy that we want to mention specifically for 2025?
I've been very behind on my viewings, so I couldn't say that I can contribute to this.
I think Marty was in my wheelhouse too, of movies that I was enamored from start to finish. I thought the characters were all really fun, and it was very period appropriate. I don't know if it was Oscar, but to me it was a lovely film, a coming of age film, where he actually grows up. So it was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I
right. Pretty darn good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, we'll call it a wrap. Thanks so much for doing this, ladies. Always a pleasure.
Thank you for having us again, Lynda. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Lynda, I'm so happy. I'm so happy to meet you, Lynda. I know you in person.
All right. Nobody
If you ever jump across the pond, reach out.
Absolutely will. So where are you based?
All right, ladies, hang on for a
Los
second. I still
Angeles.
got it, ladies. I got to get through the credits, and you guys got to stay till the end. So give me 1 more minute. Quick note for listeners, as I mentioned at the start, this is the 4th of a planned 13 episodes in this year's Oscar series, and I hope you'll stick with us. We'll be churning out new episodes right up until the ceremony on March 15th, so subscribe now if you haven't already so you catch them all. If you've just watched the YouTube video, give us some feedback. My email address is skid@belowtheline.biz. That's B-I-Z, and I'm always grateful for your comments. Closing credits, thanks to Curtis Five for our music and John Wan for our logo. The logo is available on t-shirts, mugs, and stickers at redbubble.com. To all of our listeners and YouTubers, I appreciate you. Please rate us wherever you get your podcasts and tell your friends. We'll be back again in 4 days with another episode. Thanks again from Below the Line. All right, Yvonne, we did have you kind of in a max headroom, kind of beaming in sort of situation, but you look a bit of a hologram, but we pulled it off. Thanks, guys, for all sticking with this.
Thank you. Yeah, we're based in Los Angeles, Lynda.
Okay.
Yes, we're both in LA.
Okay. Well, if I'm that way, I shall come over and see you. Absolutely.
And that way I'll find you too.
And vice versa. Vice versa, yeah? It's really nice to meet you, yeah?
A pleasure, you also.
All right.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure. Yvonne, love you.
Love you, Angela.